welcome there, welcome wherever you're.
Welcome everywhere.
Everywhere. So we're gonna go ahead and solve this God problem in this video right now.
Probably God problem.
Well, I think that some people have difficulty with it, understanding it, relating, talking about it, coming to understand somebody else's, interpretation and stuff like that. So maybe it's not a problem, but I feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding.
Because God's complex.
Because God's complex, yes.
The God conundrum?
Enigma? I don't know.
That's what the podcast talks about.
Right.
And our personal experiences of God.
Mm-hmm. I've always thought of it, and I shouldn't, let me rephrase that. I've come to think of it as God as a metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about God, when we talk about spirituality, it's this metaphor for this bigger thing, whether it's this energy, this force, this, you when you say your prayer, you say there's only one love, and so one power. And so because we have language, because we're human beings with language, we have to create this metaphor, and that's what God is, for that power, that love, that energy, that force. And so that's the best that we can come up with for right now.
Because it's so beyond us in a sense.
It's like fourth dimension, and we're only in the third dimension. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's like trying to teach an ant calculus. Like the ant's never going to understand calculus fully. It'll be able to crawl up and down the pages of a calculus book, but you'll never be able to teach it calculus. So we create these metaphors. I don't know if that analogy is accurate, but
the only thing that's coming up as you talk about it is the idea that I think, because I believe that it is within us, God's presence, there is an understanding, a deeper understanding. And something with the ant calculus thing made me think, well, if we use 10% of our brain, if we used 100%, could we be accessing this God presence all the time, or even 20%, right? Because with the 10%, we can access something that we understand or have superhuman experiences, spiritual experiences. What does that mean? And I mean, like being on acid or mushrooms took me to another dimension of understanding.
Yeah. That
I am more than what I physically see here.
Yeah.
So what the heck is that?
Yeah.
I think that's God.
Yeah. Well, and again, this is my interpretation, is that it's a metaphor. My interpretation, and definitely I feel the same way about mushrooms and LSD and my experiences in the past, that there is other shit going on right in front of us that we cannot see. I believe that, or it's within us.
Well, it's not so much that we can't see it. It's like at all times. That's why, like, while we're on the acid trip or something, we can allow space for it because we're tripping out. But if we walk through the world with that much awareness, we'd be like freaking out all the time. Like, the trees are all breathing, and we wouldn't be able this is alive and talking, animate. So how would we function?
We wouldn't be able to function and run errands and live our daily lives.
With other people who are like, not experiencing that.
Yeah. And I guess for me, and you can share, I would love for you to share too, but my interpretation of God is still a very vague thing. I always kind of make the joke, but there's a lot of truth to this, that God is kind of like this roommate that I have, that I got off of Craigslist, that works opposite hours of me, so I almost never see him in the house, but I know he's there. He cleans up after himself. As long as I clean up after myself, I pay my half of the rent and he takes care of his half. And so if I do all the right things that I need to do, I know that he's going to take care of it. But I don't, oftentimes I see hints of him, but I've never seen him. We've never hung out. We've never had like a roommate, like a house meeting,
That, a definitely different experience. I love that. And I feel immediately it makes me think of the intimacy that I've shared with what I call the presence of God within me. Through prayer and through meditation specifically. And the moment I think I mentioned in the podcast was one time I was meditating in a group of folks, and it was a 20-minute meditation. We were sitting quietly for the most of it. Someone spoke here and there. And it was maybe 18 minutes in, it felt like, and because I could tell we were coming to the end. I don't know why I could tell that. Nobody was saying anything. And I literally felt my body feel like a pen. Like I was writing a story, the next thing that happened for me and for the people in that room. I felt completely connected with the people in that room. It was a depth of connection I had never felt before in meditation. And I've been taught, don't chase that feeling. Just allow that experience to be that experience. And so for me, that is a full-on intimate experience of the presence of God.
It's
and
such
my oneness with it.
It's such a personal thing. I feel like even people who go and worship together, and they all have different wants and needs and desires and different ways that they connect and different ways that people find spirituality. And it's just such a personal thing, so I can't really have any judgment on how somebody else comes to find a higher power.
Or doesn't.
Or doesn't.
Or chooses not to. I used to love what my brother would say, he's agnostic. That's how he defined himself, and it's not sure. For him that, I'm not sure what I think. I think some things.
And that's, I would put myself still not agnostic, but leaning toward the idea that there's definitely something bigger than me out there. And there's feelings and energy and vibration that is beyond me. Whatever it is. We call it God. We call it
Spirit.
A higher power, a spirit.
I also call it love.
Love. And I think it's definitely something that has become important to connect with in my life, which wasn't always the case. And life is so much better now. So
interesting.
That's
Same experience for me. I mean, in that the deepening of for me, it's God has always been a presence. Growing up, it was more Christian based and Jesus based, and then I got more into spirituality and angels and love itself, this good feeling. And I can call God a good feeling that someone who doesn't even believe in God can agree that, oh, that's a good feeling. Like, for me, that's the presence of God.
All right.
So check it out on the podcast and tell us what you think.
What do you think? What does your God look like, feel like?
Or not.
And
why? And why do you feel that way? I would love to know. Thank you.
Thank you.